Well, it's Tuesday, and you all know what that means. As you know, NXT is featuring, of course, the WWE Speed Championship. El Grande Americano defends it against, of course, the first winner of the first season of LFG, Jasper Troy. But the real question, can he pull it off? Recently, as you know, Jasper Troy has been unstoppable. But the main event, of course, is a last man standing for the NXT Championship. As you know, Trick Williams has been on a mission to reclaim a title that he lost, but he has to go against the absolute Ricky Saints to do so. But the real question we ask ourselves, will Trick Williams regain what he lost, or will, of course, Ricky Saints become more absolute as we already know? Well, we just have to wait and see. But first things first, we're going to be reviewing, of course, the much recent event by Sareee in her self-produced show known as Sareee-ISM Chapter 9. This one features many Yoshi wrestlers, but however, the main event features her teaming up with Suzu Suzuki, taking on, of course, her BFF Natsupoi, and she teams up with, of course, Big Hash herself, Chihiro Hashimoto, and that's going to be an epic battle. So there's going to be a lot of good matches to enjoy. But as always, we'll wrap up our episode as usual with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. Any world of pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever you want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information has been unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Nike Sayaka watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough with the yapping, let's get cracking. So, let's begin with our very first review, and this one is, of course, Sareee-ISM Chapter 9. Alright, Sareee-ISM Chapter 9. This is the much recent event that happened back on November 10th in Shinjuku Face. Now, like any other event, of course, Sareee comes up and opens up the show, greets the fans, and what yada 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 and all that. However, our first match, we have Celine Misora. Many of you who may not know who she is the latest rookie coming from Seedling, and she faces against Yurika Oka from Sendai Girls. So it's an interesting match to see because, as you know, Celine Misora is getting her footing in, but she's facing a wrestler who has a bit more experience than her. Now, of course, rule of thumb, you would have assumed that Oka will pick up the win. Well, You're correct. She did that when she applied the infamous armbar, and just like that, Misora had no choice but to tap out. Now, our next match, we have an interesting tag team match. We have, of course, Akira Kurigani and Rana Yagami from Stardom, of course. Kurigani with Mi Vida Loca and Rana Yagami with God's Eye. They face Miku Kane and Chi Chi. Now, for those who don't know, these two ladies have a strong relationship with Sareee. They often team up with her, but whenever Sareee has one of her big matches, they often serve as her as their seconds due to the fact that they're learning from her. And that's the thing. Now, many of you may not know this with Chi Chi recently. She hurt herself and her face, so she's using some sort of face guard to protect her. And that's exactly what was happening right there. But however, you would have not expect a lot. Now, some of you might have thought that Miku Kane would have been the most logical choice to take the fall, but in this case, it was um, Kurigani who ended up on the wrong side of the German suplex by Miku Kane, and just like that, it was over. But however, of course, Kurigani decided to get in the face of Chi Chi and get back and forth on that. No, it was Yagami. Yagami got him back and forth. They slapped each other, and then of course Miku Kane put up a promo. I'm not sure what she said, but I'm sure she's very happy that she picked up a good win. Because normally, because she's still a rookie, it would be hard for her, but I'm glad that she was able to do so. Now, our next match, we have Yuri. Many of you know her. She is, in fact, a freelancer. Originally started in GTO, but now she's been wrestling all over. She faces against someone who many of you know, Mirai, who recently now joins Michikuno Pro Wrestling after she left Marigold. Let's see. Yeah. So anyway, it was a pretty good match, not gonna lie. Mirai, we know she's strong and she has a bit of a powerhouse style. Excuse me. Yeah. So anyway, you would have assumed in that confession, but however, Mirai was able to put her away in a submission, and just like that, it was completely over when Yuri actually tapped out. Now, our next match, we have Nightshade. She teams up with VENY. They take on Bozilla and Kaoru Itu, of course, a veteran Yoshi wrestler who's been around the block. But however, of course, you probably would have see a house fight between Nightshade and Bozilla. But however, VENY was the one who had to show her toughness, that she doesn't back down from giants like Bozilla. And Bozilla, of course, she's the type of person who's trying to prove herself that she is the strongest and the baddest, and she did that when she applied, of course, a sleeper hold on VENY, and just like that, it was completely over. Completely. And of course, Bozilla, as you know, well, let's just say Bozilla still wants a piece of her. And I wouldn't be surprised if the next Sareee-ISM show, it will be a one-on-one match between those two. So, that's how things end right there. Now, our main event, we have Natsupoi and Big Cash herself, Chihiro Hashimoto. They take on Suzu Suzuki and Sareee, which is interesting. Now, many of you may know this already. For those who don't, Sareee and Natsupoi have been best friends for many years. Even when Sareee went to WWE known as Sareee, Natsupoi even called her on whenever she gets a chance, and not to mention call her on her birthdays and special occasions. And they've been very good friends. But however, recently Saree's been questioning Natsupoi's fighting spirit. She's feeling that, of course, that Stardom has kept her in a prison in some sort. But Natsupoi did recently mention that she had felt like the fire has not been letting up more. And this is possibly the good opportunity for her to try to light it up. And I mean, she really went face to face with her best friend. And just like that, Sareee defeated her by applying it in Unagi. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. But the real question is now, what does this mean for Natsupoi? Does she have to get back to the drawing board? How will she bring that fire back? Well, I know that there's been a lot of things that have been going on with her, not to mention, as you know, she had to take over as co-leader with Saudi Anu when Tam Nakano was forced to retire. And who knows? But Sareee is determined to show that she's the definition of what real fighting spirit's all about. I mean, have you ever heard what Konami said? She hits hard, and she's not wrong. So that's pretty much it. What happened in in Sareee-ISM, so we'll see what happens. But for right now, let's move on to our next review, and it's our last one, which is NXT. Alright, final review NXT. As you know, we opened up with Tatum Paxley along with the members of the Calling. Now, as you know, Tatum Paxley is the newest NXT Women's Champion. Now, of course, she's determined to find the perfect opponent that would challenge her. But however, JZ Jane, as you know, is determined to hope to regain the title that she lost. But however, she's been playing mind games and all that stuff, so who knows how things are going to go. But their match will take place in Gold Rush, in case anybody asks that. I don't know if it's the first or the second week, so we'll see what happens. Now, the Vanity Project showed up out of nowhere and decided to, of course, to congratulate Ethan Page and Chelsea Green for not only winning the AAA Mixed Tag Team belts, but also Chelsea Green to regain the United States Women's Championship. But however, of course, the one thing they're trying to avoid is not saying his name. And you all know who that is, of course, Joe Hendry. But of course, Alba Fire volunteered herself to deal with Thea Hell before their match that will take place at Gold Rush. Now, our first match is the WWE Men's Speed Championship. Jasper Troy, as you know, won the tournament, but however, he faces against the current champion, El Grande Americano. Now, of course, this was not going to be an easy task for him because Jasper Troy has been on a mission to destroy anybody who stands in his way. Not to mention, of course, El Grande Americano's cohorts, Los Americanos, try to help him out in every way possible. Because what happened is Jasper Troy tried to use a chain and Los Americanos tried to stop him. But however, because the referee saw a different standard, well, let's just say they were ejected. But one of them gave, of course, El Grande Americano like the piece of thing on the blows on his head. But apparently he got caught. In the end, he ended up being, black hole slammed by Jasper Troy. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Now, Thea Hell, as you know, is preparing for her match against Alba Fire, and guess who showed up? Say his name, and yep, he showed up. Now, Sean Legacy was in the back, of course, talking to Ava, because as you know, he'll probably be at Gold Rush. But of course, he ran into Ruka, and of course, Sean Legacy told her, "I hope you get better because you need to regain the title that you never lost." So that's pretty much what happened. Now, of course, Ruka had to tell Ava that she's been medically cleared. So basically, we'll see what happens. Now, Thea Hell faces against Alba Fire. Now, of course, it's no secret that Chelsea Green and Ethan Page would try to get involved to ensure to embarrass Thea Hell, but Joe Hendry, thank God he was able to help out, and not to mention Chelsea Green accidentally slapped Ethan Page after Joe Hendry dug down, but he gave, of course, Thea Hell to apply the code red onto Alba Fire, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it's over. So the momentum goes to Thea Hell. But the real question, should Chelsea Green and Ethan Page should be, of course, concerned? We'll just wait and see. Now, Tatum Paxley was talking to Ricky Saints about, of course, certain things, and of course, Ricky's telling, look, I know you have to defend the title, but you don't need people's permission or validation on who you chose. You make the decision how you want to do it. So, I think Ricky Saints is trying to tell her, look, there will be opponents, but you got to make the right choice. Now, we did see, of course, Blake Monroe have an exclusive interview with herself, of course, talking about her upcoming match at Gold Rush. Now, so basically that sets it up right there. For many of you guys know this, she'll be facing Ruka. However, of course, this is one of those moments where their selves talks about the possibility they could lose these belts, but it is what it is. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens in Gold Rush. Now, we did see an interview with Jordan Grace, of course, talking about Kehlani Jordan and all that. Of course, about what she had to say, and not to mention herself being participating in Gold Rush in that triple threat match. And then she mentioned how much she was a former TNA Knockouts World Champion. Well, we all know that. And then she mentioned Li Yingling, even though she felt sorry that she's collateral. So we'll see what happens in Gold Rush as we get there. Now, Javon Evans, of course, comes out to do a promo. Apparently, he was involved in something that was happening on Raw. But, however, he was so saddened that, of course, well, he was excited that this thing will happen in Madison Square Garden, but also facing against Walter. Gunther. So you know how that is. But anyway, he even had his boy Leon Slater, the current TNA X Division champion, on the Tron, telling him that they will be facing Dark State for the NXT Tag Team titles at Gold Rush. However, Dark State showed up and hoping because they thought that Leon Slater was nowhere to be found, and Javon Evans was, of course, by himself. However, apparently it seems that Evans and Slater pulled a fast one on them. Turns out that Slater was in the building the entire time, and they were fooled. And of course, you know how that is. So the real question is, should Darkseid be concerned? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. Now, we did see Kalani Jordan have a nice chat with Trick Williams, as you all know. It's no secret about Trick Williams, who's a former TNA World Champion, and now Kalani Jordan is in the same kind of matter as her. So basically, Trick was trying to give her some advice and all this other stuff, but we'll see what happens. Now, we did see the final tournament of the Women's Speed Championship. We have Skylar Ray, who in fact is the Season 2 winner of LFG, faced against Fallon Henley. Now, of course, Fallon Henley picked up the win when she applied against somewhat of a famouser, and just like that, she'll be facing Zarya for the title. Now, Jasper Troy, as you know, has been making a statement about who will be the person to try to take this belt. However, of course, he was interrupted until Darkseid showed up. We're not too happy with the ambush by Slater and Evans, what they pulled. So, you know how that goes. Now, our next match, we have Josh Briggs taking on Tavion Heights. Now, of course, Tavion tried to deal with Josh Briggs, and I have to say, many people might have thought that Josh Briggs would have picked up the win, but no. Tavion Heights surprised everyone when he applied the belly-to-belly suplex, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, of course, Miles Bourne was watching this, but of course, his focus is about what happened last time. For those who don't remember, after he defeated Tavion Heights, hopes to get a shot against, of course, Josh Briggs. Well, he was attacked by Trick Williams, and he's not going to let that go. Ava tried to plead him not to get involved. And of course, Ren Sinclair showed up along with Kendall Gray. However, of course, while he left, Kendall Gray was slapped by Laney Reed. And it looks like Laney Reed is aiming for the Evolve Women's Championship. So you probably can guess the Fatal Influence are trying to gain a lot of gold, regain the NXT Women's Championship, get the WWE Women's Speed title, and now the Evolve. So we'll see how that rolls. Now, our main event, of course, is the NXT title in a Last Man Standing match. Now, for those who don't know what this is, for those who do, you probably know what it is. But for those who don't know, let me explain it to you. The Last Man Standing is a match where, of course, you have, if you're down out for the count after the count of 10, the match is over. There's no pinfall, no submission. You have to last 10 seconds. If you don't, then you lose. The person still standing wins. And that's what the match was about. It was brutality. I mean, you wouldn't imagine the type of damage these guys had to go through. But the one person who was completely damaged was Ricky Saints, because he had some bruised ribs and he had it taped up. But however, he did not waver. He put Trick Williams through a table, and just like that, he remained standing. However, in the post-match, we did not expect this happening. The ruler, Obafemi, showed up, and it seems that he is determined to regain the NXT Championship. But we'll see what happens. Could this happen in Gold Rush? Who knows? But we'll see. But as of right now, we are officially done with our reviews. Let's move on with our last and final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So let's begin with upcoming events. As you know, we have some events coming in the month of December with GCW. The first one is called Say You Will, that will take place on the 5th of December in Seattle. They announced that the GCW World Championship will be on the line. Effie will defend it against Priscilla Kelly, so that's going to be one hell of a match. And then, of course, we have the Highest in the Room 4 that will take place a day later on the 6th of December in LA. Joey Janela versus Jack Evans. Now, Wrestling Open announced for a big event taking place on the 13th of November. They announced Lady Lee, who many of you may know her as Gintala, who was recently released by WWE, faces against Alley Catch. So, yes. So, the same Alley Catch you guys remember from GCW and, of course, Wrestling Revolver. Then, of course, we move on with Sendai Girls on the 19th of November in the Sendai Pit. Well, they announced that the members of God's Eye, consisting of Lady C and Shooty, will take on Team 200 kg, Yu and Chihiro Hashimoto. MLW will collaborate with Don Gato on the 26th of November in Charleston, North Carolina. They even announced Scarlett Bordeaux, many of you know her as the wife of Killian Cross, or just Killer Cross, will take on Shotzi Blackheart. So that's going to be, no, Isla Dawn, my bad. Yeah, Isla Dawn. And then, of course, we have the collaboration for the first time. This is going to be announced. Wrestling Revolver will team up with Battle Arts Academy, which is run by Santino Marella, and this will take place on the 23rd of November, called Art of Battle, taking place in Canada, of course, in Ontario, I believe. And then finally, Jersey Championship Wrestling with Round Ball Rock, that takes place on the 14th of December, and this is a brand new show, and they announced Tombstone Jesus. I don't even know who that is. So yes. Now moving on to some developments. Many of you know that Adam Copeland has not been seen for quite some time. Well, it's been recently reported that he was spotted in London working on the on filming The Beekeeper 2, which of course features Jason Strahan, so he's involved. He'll be working through this all the way through November, so yeah, we'll see what happens. Manami recently from Sendai Girls was injured. Now that she's back, she'll be returning on the 22nd of November for the Mika Iwata 10th anniversary. Now, recently, as you all know, we talked about Andrade El Idolo. Well, apparently there was a thing where, as you all know, he was scheduled to be in a match in the Crash recently, but however, due to the non-compete clause, it turns out. But Nate Meltzer revealed that he wasn't happy about it. Some people are thinking that, he walked away, but he actually replied saying this: I went to get something to eat at Hong Kong. For those who don't know that place, Hong Kong is a strip joint in Tijuana, Mexico. Personally, I never been there, but I have seen it. Yes, and it makes sense. But people are saying that Andrade was being an a-hole. I mean, look, he's upset. I get it that he can't wrestle. I mean, I don't blame him for feeling that way. But it is what it is, and there's nothing he can do unless he files a lawsuit. Dax Harwood mentioned that he views Kevin Knight as a main eventer, so he's giving huge praises to Kevin Knight. And I know some people recently commented that on the X that Kevin Knight seems like he's already a main eventer anyway, but we'll see. It turned, as you all know, recently there's been talk about Shinsuke Nakamura wanted to be the final opponent for Tanahashi, but due to the fact, because of the circumstances, Tanahashi in New Japan and WWE has a relationship with Noah. Apparently, there's been discussing that they may have this match between these two take place, of course, in Noah instead, which is obvious. It's not the first time that Tanahashi wrestled in Noah, so it could happen. Trick Williams was talking about his real-life girlfriend. Many of you know her, Lash Legend. This is what he had to say about her. I'm super excited for her. Well deserved. Everybody know that she is capable of. She probably didn't do everything she wanted to do in NXT, but man, she looks like a main roster, and she looks like a megastar. So she's right where she belongs. So yeah, he's very proud of her and all that. Eddie Kingston recently mentioned on his X account that starting on the in 2023 that he will be no longer taking indie bookings, and this is the reason what he had to say. So this will be my last indie run, doing Beyond End show in Jersey this weekend, and after that I'm taking a only one show a month. By next November, I'm done with the indies. Yeah, nothing more to do it as a December and March, April, May. So basically, he's gonna tone it down. I don't know because as you know, he's been injured. He wants to take it easy. Who knows? But yes. So I'm sure it's gonna be very sad for many fans who wanted to see him, but it is what it is. So that's pretty much it for our news updates. So let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, we have AW Dynamite Blood and Guts, which is going to be a bloody murder event. And then, of course, we have Evolve. Now, I did look that we're expecting a New Japan show and a Stardom show. I may not be able to do maybe all of them, but we'll see how things will go from there. So don't count me out just yet, boys and girls. So we'll see. But as of right now, let's say that I'll leave it as it is, and we'll see. But until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day.